G'day, cats! Welcome to episode 6 of the GreenCast, a podcast where I usually talk to myself in my bedroom. But this time, I'm not talking to myself in my bedroom. I'm actually joined by another fellow narrator.
He's got a voice in his head.
Mr. Creepsworks. Punish Creepsworks.
Punish Creep. Yes, Creepsworks, not just Creepswork. It's my works. Everyone knows me by. Punished.
And he's a punished Creepsworks. He's not just a normal Creepswork.
I've been punished. My mom came in and whoosh.
So, I've got a bunch of questions to ask you, and then I've got a bunch of other, just autistic questions from a bunch of other, of our fan bases and stuff as well. So one of the first things I wanted to ask you was, obviously, you were a creepypasta narrator before you actually became, like, more known as a green text narrator, I'd say. The main thing I wanted to know is, why are you punished? What actually happened to get your channel fucked?
Okay, so, as you know, I started out with creepypastas, like you said. I worked on that for about 2 to 3 years. And then I got involved with doing rants against people on DeviantArt. I don't even know why. So this one particular person I ranted against, her little girlfriend got mad at me and put a community guideline strike on my video, and that's what started the downfall. And then because I put like "tard" in the title, I was too dumb to think, hey, that'll trip the algorithm. I just got the other 2 strikes needed to kill my channel.
But I've got like probably about, I want to say 15 at this point of "tard" tales on my channel, and I'm fine.
It all depends. 'Cause I was on the original Creepswork channel. I was growing exponentially. The time it took me to get from, around 6K to 40 was probably about a month and a half, or even less than that. But it's taken me now from, on the second channel, it's taken me well over 6 months, maybe, to get back up here. So,
I mean, 6 months in that time span, that's pretty good.
It is, but compared to how fast I was moving, it's definitely more difficult to stand it.
Well, I mean, that's just more so the YouTube algorithm nowadays. Is it just?
But I believe that's why it caught all my stories that were like "tard" related, is because of how fast I was growing. I was getting recommended to literally everybody.
Right.
So, YouTube, it tripped it easier, and they're like, gotta shut this boy down.
So it all started basically someone got triggered because
someone got triggered because I ranted against her dyke girlfriend, and then she got all pissy and everything because they were supposed to be fast lovers, and then I made
she had poopy artwork on DeviantArt.
Well, actually, so the community guideline strike came from me ranting against her because her name is Obsolete Goat, so I called her Obsolete Goat Fucker. And so yeah, that got me a community guideline strike from her. So
wait, so that was one. You need 3
that was the first
to
one.
Go there.
And then it was months. It was within the 3 months time span that I started. Probably around like the second month that I started doing the green text. And then it shot up, and then within that month and a half time span, I got shut down.
Right.
So now I'm punished. A man denied his platform.
So what actually? Because you did creepypastas for 2 to 3 years. You said. What made
I started
you decide to do a couple green text and stuff like that?
Well, so to give a history of my channel, I started in I think late 2012, and for a while I was in the creepypasta narrators community, which was absolutely garbage. Anybody who's in that right now, just get out. So I had been doing creepypastas for the entire time I was in there, which actually was only a few months. Then I jumped ship and I kept doing it because it's all I knew. That was a good year or two. And then I think the third year of doing it, I started doing shit I found on 4chan, because it was the July 4th raid of Tumblr of 2014 when I really heard about 4chan, and that's when I went into it and got enthralled with the community, and then I started, taking the pictures that I found on there that I found funny or cringy and started reading them, and that's the shit I found on 4chan. That's how this all originally started.
Right.
And then, of course, later on, I thought, you know what? Why don't I just try reading one whole green text story, and the magic happened. and then the magic died, and then the magic came back.
Right, yeah. So, I want to get into this fucking the creepypasta community. So how do you even get into the creepypasta community? Is it just like...
Literally just be a narrator, or a writer, or a fan, or pretty much anyone, because they will take anyone because they are desperate. You say, hey, I'm a fan of yours. Hey, sure, you want to come into this community and just pretend like you're a part of it and that we like you? Yeah, come on in, kid.
What do you mean by desperate? Because like some of the cunts like fucking Mr. Creepypasta, like I totally ripped off his name. He's got like a fucking mellow subs. He's doing fucking fine. Why would you say they'd be desperate for?
Have you seen his views?
Well, I mean, yeah, that maybe 10% if he's lucky, but I mean, it's mostly with that watch time that YouTube fucking loves.
Yeah, but I mean, I take viewership count over watch time any day. When I first started in 2012, it was in November, so either that month, December, or January the next year, this girl, I won't name her because she's still cool, she asked me, like, hey, you want to come into the Skype? Because, back then Skype was all the rage. So, she was like, hey, you want to come into the Skype community? I was like, yeah, sure, because I was like, sweet, I'm going to meet all the creepypasta narrators, and I'm going to be so cool, and I'm going to get big, and oh, God. Got in there, talked to people. I was the black sheep. Funny thing is, creepypasta community was one of the first communities to start adopting the PC culture. Because you couldn't criticize anybody. You couldn't be like, well, your story was bad, you suck, you're terrible, I hate you, racial slur. They'd freak out on you. They'd flip out. They'd tell everybody that you're a terrible person. I got branded as KK Creepswork because I told racist jokes. I was a dick. The creepypasta community is what kind of shaped me into being the jerk that I am now, is because they took my passion of creepypastas, of these narrations, and they fucking stomped on them.
That seems kind of ironic that they'd be PC when, they're reading creepypastas, which,
I know, it's weird,
which
too.
Naturally it seems like horror and shit.
Oh, it is. And the worst part about it, everyone knows is slender stabbing. And I can say without a doubt that the narrators were one of the parties directly involved making it happen. Because
really?
They turned this genre that talks about people getting dismembered, children getting fucking mutilated, all this terrible stuff, and they turned it into this cutesy crap that appeals to kids. They knew their audience, and they purposely appealed to them, and unfortunately that audience was young teenagers.
Yeah.
And, of course, as you know, they're very fucking impressionable. Now, I don't think these girls were just, creepypastas. I think there was more to it than that. But there's one narrator in particular. They talked about the Slenderman Mansion. Now, that's nowhere in his lore, other than this certain webcomic that this YouTuber by the name of Madame Macabre made. So, when I heard that, I was like, oh, well... I guess we know who spurred on that little psychotic happening. No, but that's my biggest issue is they just turned it into like Disneyland. They turned creepypastas into Disneyland.
That's pretty fucking funny.
And it's I saw where this was gonna go. Even back then I knew. I was like, you guys are not respecting the original source stuff. You're not respecting the idea of creepypasta, and you're going to destroy it. And lo and behold, they did. So, a little bit of foresight goes a long way. And unfortunately, everyone's fucking retarded.
So, I noticed on the state of your channel, when you came back to YouTube, you started mostly uploading green text. But you seem to be distancing yourself from the green text and going back to creepypastas. But now going back into a bit more green text readings.
Well,
which one do you prefer?
I prefer creepypastas because they tackle cooler concepts and ideas. Especially like that the Strangers video I posted. It's got a really, really good plot, a really good sci-fi plot to it. The only 4chan story that's come close to that is One Day with Alex Jones and some of the D&D stuff.
Yes.
I definitely prefer, and it's not even just creepypastas. It's stories in general that are fictional or fiction-based stories.
Stories that aren't written by Neats at 4 a.m. in fucking their mother's basement.
I'm working on a story called The World That the Children Made. It's a really good short sci-fi book. It's more kid-friendly, but it's really, really good. Outdoes any 4chan story by far. However...
Right.
The thing... so with 4chan stories, I obviously do those because it's what my viewers come for. It's what most of them have come for. So I know that, and so I made the 5 minutes of green text because that makes it's essentially filler. I'm running my channel now like anime. That's right, you heard it here first, folks. Weeb Creepswork. No, but I'm running it as filler, so I can work on larger projects that entertain me, like The Strangers, bigger 4chan stories, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy some of those longer 4chan stories. They have their moments, and it's very easy for me to do music mixing with... Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a lot more fun finding music for them. That's the only crux with creepypastas.
There it is, the music meme.
That's the crux with creepypastas, is that you have to use just a lot of more darker toned music. And it gets very boring after a while. So that's the only thing I like about green text a little bit more, is the music variation I can do.
You can kind of experiment a bit more with it, yeah.
But as for my stance on green text, I hate most of them. I think most of them are stupid. Even the ones that I laugh at, like, those are the only ones that I even consider being halfway as good. Because the problem with green text is they're just not good for story structure for the most part. They're good for the ADHD autismos in the audience that they can't handle sitting down for more than 10 minutes to listen to an actual plot that has, build up and climax and suspense. They're good for that audience, but for everyone else that has a little bit more of a attention span, that's why I do audiobooks and shit like that.
Audiobooks? Like actual Amazon audiobooks?
Any audiobooks that I can find for free.
Fair enough. So I want to transition a little bit more into movies, because I know you're a fucking movie guy and that sort of stuff. And I wanted to talk about one of my favorite films, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Yeah, you liked it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a really good movie. I tried to watch the other Mad Maxes, and I just the only one I watched all the way through was Road Warrior.
Yeah.
And it was just so boring.
Road Warrior is easily probably one of the best ones.
The only thing I took away from it is just walk away. That's it. That's all I took away from it.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about why there hasn't been another Mad Max, because it fucking won 6 Academy Awards, yet there's been no sequels.
Well,
and
sometimes, for instance, I'll self-promote myself a little bit. One of my stories, The Amazing Man, it's a really good standalone story. I thought about writing an Origins. I was even in the process of doing it, but after a while, I just thought, you know what? No, I don't want to do this. I've technically he is an OC character. However, I'm not going to ruin him by spoiling the mystery behind his character. Mad Max, I feel, is the same way. You're not going to capture that same feeling again. Because people now have speculated. They've done theory videos, all kinds of stuff. The next Mad Max would have to have a lot of talking, a lot of exposition. You're not going to capture the same feeling that you got in Fury Road.
I feel like if it's George Miller again, I think it'd be fine.
Maybe, and maybe if he can keep the plot to a minimum, like, hey, we got Max is gonna maybe liberate this place because they stole his car again. But like, I just don't feel that that a proper sequel could be made to it. Not without kind of ruining the feel of it. Maybe if they switch from car races to just like all out hand-to-hand combat and stuff, maybe they could get away with it.
I feel like that it's like the complete opposite of why people would go see Mad Max. It's just like,
I don't know.
Fuck yeah, go see some cool car scenes. And
I like
just
the
like,
cars,
okay,
or maybe they could keep the car theme, but just like do a Thunderdome mix with it, where like they're on a moving platform where they have to fight each other or some shit. They could think of something. Maybe Car Wars or something like that, like a big canyon where they drive around killing each other or something. There's potential, but I think George Miller's under this mindset that he's not going to be able to do the same thing twice and get away with it.
Well, did you know that George Miller's actually been working on... He's actually got the script for the 5th and the 6th one into Mad Max, but he actually can't make it because he's been cut by the studio.
But basically, he literally was printing them gold.
Oh yeah, which is... They'd just be like, why wouldn't you just throw money at him to fucking do it again?
This is why I don't want to touch Hollywood if I can ever make movies.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of fuck arounds. But I mean, basically what happened was the studio gave them a set budget, and the producer that's been working with George Miller for fucking years and producing all of his films, they actually managed to deliver the film slightly under budget. When big films like this, they get...
they go over budget, over time, everything, yeah.
Well, no, they went under budget. So they actually, when that happens, is the crew and the producers, they get reimbursed for stuff and they get bonuses. And basically they never got bonuses, and it's two conflicting stories. The studio says they went over budget, whereas the crew and everyone else says they went under budget. So they're currently in a legal battle for these fucking funds.
I've noticed that you tend to go under budget when you do practical effects like what they did.
Well, yeah, you want to kind of overestimate for doing stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, from what I know, the only CG they did was the backgrounds, the tornadoes, and then upping the contrast.
But that was only mostly because fucking they wanted to film it in Australia, but they couldn't because they got rained out. And they had to fucking move fucking the entire production to South Africa. But it's so yeah, you can't exactly make a movie while you're in the middle of fucking suing the studio that you want to make it with.
Yeah, no, that's George Miller could easily just crowdfund a second Mad Max movie.
Oh, easily, yeah.
I don't know why he hasn't done it yet.
Well, I think it's more so. I think I don't know if Warner Brothers owns the rights to it, or they just own the rights to distribute it. I think they just own the distribution rights, I think.
Put it on the internet.
And that might... I don't know, it might be some fucking grey area, and I'm sure there's some shit that's just like, fuck you, you can't put anything on
Hollywood if I don't have to. I hate all their legality, I hate all the cucking they do. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it's a business. When it comes
I know it's a business. However, you're trying to mix business with vision, and many times those two do not go together.
Justice League.
Oh, don't get me started on Justice League. You want to get me started on Justice League?
Ah, yeah, fuck it.
Okay, Justice League, I watched it. It was one of the most predictable movies I've ever seen. If anybody has watched Dragon Ball Z, they know what I'm talking about. It has the Goku syndrome. Wait for Goku. Wait for Superman.
I did.
oh man, this enemy that's we only ever know of because this one movie is causing trouble in the neighborhood. Time to form a useless team of people that are just cannon fodder for Superman. Oh
Yeah.
hated it so much. Superman comes in there waving his big old super dick, and he's like, "Yeah, man," slaps him. "Yeah, man, I'm all cool, and let me help you out with these cube things." Yeah, that was easy. You don't know what you're doing. And beat him up. So stupid.
Yeah. It was pretty funny when the entire time they went for Superman, he just shows up and he's just like, punch, and you're down.
Just cock
and I'm like,
slaps
wow,
him,
okay.
And then they do the whole, oh, we can't kill him because that would be immoral, even though he's murdered countless people. No, we're gonna let his own henchmen do it to him. That's the only part that Marvel's better on, is they actually kill their villains. Sometimes.
I mean, sometimes, but I mean, it's also just like,
My problem
Marvel's I feel like it's different because they get really big name actors and then they're just like, fuck, we can't.
My biggest
pay them,
issue
so
with
they just get rid
DC
of
though
them.
is like, you can only do the same trick so many times, like Batman and Joker. You can only do it so many times. Just kill the Joker already and come up with something new. God, like Dark Knight did Joker perfectly. You can't ever do him that way again. Jared Leto's a prime example of how badly it goes down.
I don't know.
Great
I
actor.
liked Jared Leto's Joker, apart from just the tattoos. I think is about the only thing.
Now I haven't seen Suicide Squad, and I won't because I don't want to waste my time. But I get it, Joker. He was going for the psychotic, loose cannon Joker, but I preferred Heath Ledger's because he was actually calculated, somewhat.
I just want to see more of it because it was basically a cameo. It wasn't fucking much more than that, to be honest.
I couldn't care less to see more of it. I want to see something new. I'm so tired of these same characters. The Dark Knight trilogy, cool. Everything else, ugh.
Yeah, if anything, I think DC just needs to fucking reboot their entire thing because they've fucked it so bad.
Oh, they need to, like, a lot of people hate on Man of Steel, and I know why they do. However, I think it's better than all the other Superman movies. Oh, but what about the 80s?
Oh, yeah,
They're
no,
trash.
I do too.
But they could. I would love to watch a Flash movie because the CW Flash. Love that series. It's cheesy as hell, but I love it. I would watch a movie just about Flash.
Oh, for sure. That's the thing that fucks me off a lot is fucking they're fucking giving movies to fucking everyone. Fucking Steven Spielberg has a fucking movie about Black Hawk now, but The Flash was unable to get a director for fucking like 2 years. They gave it to some schmuck that just never even directed a film before.
But my
and
Ant-Man,
of course he fucking backed out.
and my Black Panther and my other superhero that nobody cares about. Get the Flash. Oh no, but we also made the Green Lantern. Get the Flash.
Yeah, and it's even weirder to me that the Flash movie isn't really going to be a solo movie. It's going to be a Flashpoint movie, which is basically going to be their equivalent of like Civil War, where it's just going to basically be an ensemble movie again.
You mean the Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
That was a great animated movie.
I mean, yeah, but...
Now, of course, I know animated does not translate into live action all the time, so...
Yeah.
But if they can do it right, it'd be a really good movie.
I don't know, it's I kind of do have hope for it, because if they're fucking smart, they can use that as a soft reboot for the entire thing, because Flash can just come back and just go, oh, that's weird, these actors have changed, oh, the universe has changed, that's weird, can't fix that.
That or, DC should just stick to animated movies. They're really good at animated movies. Really good. But they can't do live action to save their life.
Yeah, they need help. I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with Aquaman as well.
I could. His character bored me so badly. Ooh, I'm brooding and I don't like people because I'm a fish. Like, come on. Oh, I don't want to help you, even though this guy that's like trying to get all these cubes is going to destroy the ocean too, along with everybody else. No, I don't want to help you, brr.
I don't know. Aquaman also worries me at the same time because I know a couple people that were on the production. Some of the stunt team I worked with are on there, and they were telling me how delayed and some of extended the production was. Like they were shooting for like almost an entire year, which with these big budget films is pretty much unheard of. They just kept throwing money at it.
As someone who doesn't have doesn't know people in the entertainment business tree, I couldn't give a fuck less about Aquaman.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what the director or the creator of Saw does with Aquaman.
Oh my god, no! No! Oh, this guy who's only ever known to direct movies and they got worse and worse as they kept going, direct horror movies? Yeah, let's get him for superheroes.
I mean, he made
Aquaman's gonna be
well.
in like some kind of bondage trap, and he's gonna have to call a whale in to bash it open, and on TV, I want to play a game. Wrong genre.
I don't know. I'll
You know what I want to see? So there's talks of a solo Obi-Wan movie, and
yeah, I think that's what everyone fucking just wants at this point.
I think it's wholly apparent that these side stories are probably going to be better than the actual stories themselves, because Rogue One, terribly better than 7, Episode 7 was.
Almost shamefully better, to be honest.
If they do an Obi-Wan, somebody suggested that they do it in a Logan style, where it's lower budget, where it's like lower budget, heavier rated. I'd watch that.
Oh my god.
I'd love to watch an older Obi-Wan, you know, just some like low budget or just some small production movie of him on Tatooine, just doing whatever an old Obi-Wan does. I would watch that movie endlessly.
That actually sounds really fucking cool. A Logan-style Obi-Wan film.
Oh,
I'd
but
watch
you
the
know they
shit out
won't
of
do
that.
that.
Oh no, because they can't. Because fucking they got to sell to kids.
Yeah, because we can't merchandise it.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't throw a porg on Tatooine.
I feel like it could be a good fan film or some shit though. That's probably about as close as you're gonna get.
If I were to, if I ever get the ability to, you know, make movies, I'll fucking do it myself. I'll make it rated R too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
I'd love to see a rated R Star Wars
it.
movie. Cussing, violence. Oh, it'd be great.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The Star Wars universe is too kid-friendly. You're in a universe where people have plasma swords, giant laser ships, well, ships that shoot giant lasers, I should say. You've got people who can choke you just from thinking about it. This universe is graphic. Start using, like in the original Episode 4, there was blood when Obi-Wan cut off that alien's arm.
Well, I mean, it was different colored blood, which usually they get away with.
It was red. It was red blood. I remember seeing it. There was blood when he cut off. I was like, whoa, that's pretty brutal. But like,
I mean,
and then Lucas had to cuck the whole thing to make it PG-13, so he could it cauterizes the wound, which technically is what would kind of happen. But I think Star Wars needs to go rated R. They're trying to appease fans, the new kid audience, when they should be appeasing the core audience. Like, my biggest issue with the Star Wars movies is you had the whole extended universe to where you had half your job done for you. You just needed to film it. But no, let's throw all that away so we can make up our own. They were handed an entire universe, literally an entire universe, and they threw it away.
And they're like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing over here.
Nah, man, even though this stuff is like what fans have grown up with and there's books about it, no, we're gonna make up our own stuff, and it's just gonna be carbon copies of the first 3.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see why they did it. They're just like, I mean, we're free to do other stuff.
I know they're trying to appeal to as many people as possible, but it's like, just stop.
Yeah.
Hollywood is killing. I mean, maybe this is the childhood killing blow that a lot of adults need to wake up to realize shit's whack, yo.
So that was actually a question that I had down here too. Say if you had $100,000 to make a film, what would you make? How would you go about it? Where would it go?
Well,
would you try and get it in cinemas? Would you just straight upload it to the internet?
I would probably, because the book I'm doing, Mr. Sandman, plugging, because that's a no-name at the moment, no one would watch it. I would get nowhere with it. I'm fully aware of that. I need notoriety before I make my own stuff. So I would probably go for that Obi-Wan film, make my own version of it. And I would just... like, am I looking to get money back on this, or do I just have this money and then make it?
So you've got $100,000 to make a film. Someone gives you it. It's not your own money. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
And they don't want me to pay them back.
Nope. They're just giving you it.
Okay.
You don't have to give it back.
Then
and
I will just
all...
throw it onto the internet for everyone to see.
Right. Yep.
There we go. Because it'll reach a much wider audience than if I try to get it onto theaters. No, I will just throw it on YouTube, BitChute, every place I can get it onto, and just make sure everyone knows who made it. That's it. That's all I would do.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Did you hear about this guy who made that Obi-Wan film? Yeah, man, like he's getting this like new thing into works, and let's fund him." So there we go. I mean, in my Sandman book, people can read the first book right now for free if they go onto my channel and look for the video. I could try to publish it, but I drop like Superman's name in it, Punisher, Batman, a couple of porn stars. Well, from what I know,
you realize Ready Player One's a fucking thing, right?
What?
You realize Ready Player One's a thing, right? That basically the entire book's fucking that.
But I mean, also the other problem with publishing is like they got a lot of rules, and I don't. My book one is not styled like a regular book.
You'd be surprised. I know someone that literally published a fucking life story, and he's my age. He's
no.
19
That's
years
not what
old.
I'm saying, though. I'm saying is how the book is formatted and so on. They've got a lot of strict rules for that.
You'd be surprised. Some cunt in China will fucking print anything if you give him money.
Well, see, book one is styled more like a script, if anything, because I don't like how dialogue is presented in regular books. I tell whose name, or I say the name, and then I show their dialogue, because I don't like that insert line here, or said she, or she said, or he. I hate that. It kills me so badly.
Well, it's usually so you know how they're saying it.
I know, but I mean, if you got more than a brain cell, you can read the lines and know the context and think, well, that's probably how they're saying it.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, like, as someone that's like working with actors, there's a lot of fucking ways you can interpret
I know, but
stuff.
I don't want to. I've been narrating for 5 years. I know how to read a line, and it's not that difficult when you know the context of the line and like the character. It's not that difficult to tell how they're saying it. You just got to use a couple of brain cells to warm up that IQ of yours.
So I guess we'll just get into the most goddamn autistic part of this podcast, which is of course taking questions from a bunch of you cunts. So if you guys actually want to ask me any sort of questions and anything like that, you can of course either comment on the community tab that I'll put up next week, or you can email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com.
Or come to his house and invade on his privacy.
Or do that if you're really that fucking keen. Anything to get in contact with me, to be honest. Fucking
don't come to my house
or whatever the fuck.
I will
go to his house.
I've kicked out some of my friends before, so I will do the same, but with bullets.
I mean, I doubt anyone's gonna fucking swim across to Australia anytime soon. You'd be a lot easier to get to.
Well, if how I work on Discord is any evidence, or if one of your commenters is writing, "Oh, my dickish attitude is just a front," who knows? People might come in and I'll be like, "Yeah, man, come in, it's all cool," and then, fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay, so the first question I've got here is from a guy called Galon the Driven, I think. I don't know. I don't know. It sounds pretty funny. He asks, "Who is your favorite shooter?" And I'm going to open it up. I'm not going to say just school shooters. I'll open it up to any sort of shooters. LA shooting, whatever.
Yeah,
who's your personal favorite?
They're all going to be American, of course. I'll say, prepare to get taken off YouTube. The YouTube shooter is number one. For the sole sake of the memes and the song that was made about it, Columbine. And then probably the Waco stuff.
What's the Waco stuff?
Waco, Texas. There's the viewers are going to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was a family down there that was like, it was a really screwed up situation, and like it kind of opened up the dialogue that the government's kind of overstepping its power. Because I think these people were trying to just like, you'll have to read up on it. I cannot remember. The people in the comments will they will correct me on all this stuff. I already know it, but it was
Sounds
a really
very
messed
much
up,
like a rabbit hole.
The Waco, Texas stuff was a really messed up situation.
Right.
So yeah, those are my three: YouTube, Columbine, Waco.
Top 3 shootings.
Can't wait till Twitch gets its come-ups. It's gonna be some gay transvestite Australian boomerang shooter. Oh,
Very nice because they can't show us much cleavage.
You've taken me off Twitch for the last time.
Fucking A. Except it misses, comes back, and they kill
Oh wait,
themselves.
it's gonna be Mr. GreenCast that boomerangs up Twitch headquarters.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the headlines this week, guys.
Don't come to Twitch tomorrow, some of you will.
So, Malamizi asks, what's the best way to support either of you?
For me, Patreon at the moment. However, I have applied to a job and it's looking like I might get it. So I may keep my Patreon going, but yeah, Patreon, and I have this thing called. My friend made this thing called CryptoCloud. However, it's kind of bombed. That's a way to do it, but I only make 10% of the cash. It would be a good way to support him because if he doesn't get a lot of money, he's going to be joining the Royal Air Force because British.
Oh, jeez.
But if you just want to solely support me, Patreon would be the best way if you want to do it financially.
Yeah, and probably the best way to support me is just watch a shit ton of my videos because they're all monetized.
Because he's monetized on YouTube.
Yeah, dude. Actually, probably the best way to support me is just watch through all my podcasts because that equates to probably about a month or so worth of green text, to be honest. Get me that fucking watch time, boy.
Get him those YouTube shekels. See, I get my Patreon shekels. You get your YouTube shekels.
So.
Oh, and actually, real quick, before anybody says, "Oh, Creepswork, why don't you monetize?" One word or 2 words: copyrighted music.
Yeah, you kind of shot yourself in the foot with that one.
Yeah.
Steve the Nerd asks, "What is your favorite podcast if you listen to?" So, do you actually listen to any other podcasts?
Not on the regular. I usually watch highlights if I'm even interested, and the only one I watch highlights on is the Kumite stuff.
You don't watch InfoWars?
I don't watch their live streams.
Honestly, I listen to a shit ton of podcasts. I listen to podcasts more than I probably listen to music at this point. Whenever I'm in the car, I'll just throw in a potty.
I listen to music all the time. I can't even really stand most podcasts because like, hey everybody, what up? It's podcast number 10,000 bajillion, and today we're gonna talk about some more useless, inane shit that we have no idea what we're doing. I'll
I mean, honestly, like almost all of the podcasts I listen to are Australian comedians. So some of my favorites, probably Spearhead Sundays, which is Lewis Spears' podcast. The Josh Wade Show is also another really good one. He does some really fucking cool interviews. One of my favorites is he interviewed a prostitute, and the prostitute goes on about some of her experiences, and one of the experiences was urethra play.
With him.
Oh, not with him, but just with like random people. And he's just like, what the fuck? What is urethra play? And it's exactly what it sounds like.
I know.
Basically, you're getting fucked in the dick.
It would be really funny if he's like, so what's one of your crazier experiences? You about 10 minutes ago before we started this show. I would have laughed. No, but and if people ask me why I haven't done a shit posters cast in a while, I just haven't felt like it. There's no one to podcast with. I prefer having one or more people, or 2 or more people, so that you can get the chemistry going.
Also, the H3 podcast is also one of my other faves too, which is H3's podcast. He does some really good stuff, which is honestly a lot of the reason why I'm doing my podcast.
I can't stand his vocal. I can't stand H3's voice. It annoys me so badly.
Okay.
I'm sure he's a great guy, but his voice annoys me.
Michael the Steward asks, if bros before hoes, where do traps go?
They let's take a real quote scientific look into this. So, traps are men pretending to be women. So they're gay, by the way. It's the definition of being fucking gay.
Very gay, yeah.
So bros before hoes. What about traps? So you make fun of them for being a trap, but you also include them in your broly activity. Just make sure they don't try to suck your dick. Like, dude, you're such a gay trap, and then you give them a beer or something like that.
Yeah, they basically go as far as fucking away as humanly possible from you.
Or you only involve them in 50% of what you do.
Okay. Hero the Hero asks, how did you guys get inspired to do green texts and readings in general, like creepypastas and that sort of shit?
Well,
what made you start?
I can answer the reading part, but I already answered why I got into green text. As for reading, so when this was back when I was 16 and everything, a wee lad Creepswork.
A wee lad.
I was on YouTube just scrolling through the shit. Well, actually, yeah, it was sort of YouTube, sort of not. I had found a meme. If anybody knows what it is, paranoid parrot. Back when the top text, bottom text memes were popular. And it was like, tap on the window, it's Slenderman. And I was like, who the fuck is Slenderman? So I looked him up, and I was like, this is some creepy shit. And then I looked him up on YouTube, and I don't know, I watched a couple of things. They weren't narrations, but then I decided, hey, let's look up some dark Pokemon stuff. That's like actually what I typed in. And I came up to Come Follow Me, a really, really good Pokemon creepypasta that I'm going to be posting on my channel at some point.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I thought it was all real because, 16 and retarded. And that's what started me listening to narrations and stuff like that. That's what got me into that part. But then I listened to a reading of Pen Pal, which is a really, really good story. And that story made me sweat my shirts out. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, what the fuck? The introduction to narrations essentially changed how I view audio and stuff like that. How I view reading stuff. So that's how I got into doing narrations, is because that Pen Pal story just fucking moved me. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to start doing this shit.
Nice. Yeah, I basically, I used to listen to all the fucking creepypasta narrators in high school, and I'm like, I want to do this. So I did a couple on my old channel. They're long since privated. Good luck. They're not up anywhere, so fuck off. And I don't know, I did a couple, they got some views, but not fucking much. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? There's obviously a lot better people doing it than me. So then I'm like, I still want to narrate stuff. What can I do? And then I'm like, hey, green texts are pretty cool, and they've got some pretty nice stories. And so I did that.
So, oh yeah, I'm kind of glad my old channel is gone, in all honesty. There are some videos on there that I am so glad they're gone to the ether. They were just like a lot of my old creepypastas, terribly voiced, awful. I was walking down a hall when that it was so bad, and then I made some really cringy videos that I thought were funny. I went through my channel at one point, just deleted so much shit, and but no, I'm glad it's gone. I've got probably a 10% cringe thing going on in my current channel. There's only a couple of videos that I would rather not be on there, but they're on there, so
yeah. Fair enough.
So it's a much better cringe ratio than it used to be.
Okay, alright. Prima Poke asks, what's your opinion on green text YouTubers who use text-to-speech instead of narrating them themselves? I
think that's all I need to say.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I don't know. Fuck you, because it's a lot easier.
I mean, I'm sure they're great people. I'm sure they're nice people, but...
Oh yeah, we know fucking most of them.
Yeah, nigga, come on. Like... So I know why. I have a theory of why Wave Titan is where he's at right now. And it's not a bash against him, it's a bash against his audience. So 4chan is, of course, comprised of a bunch of fucking autistic robots. I have a theory that they like listening to literal robots narrating their stories than they like to listen to actual humans. Because it's like it's a subconscious fear of conversation with people. That's my theory. And it's going to get even worse because in episode 11 of the GreenTech stuff, that'll be coming out either this month or next. So if any of you know it, there's this 4chan story where this guy drew porn of his mom, not Shadman, but this other guy. Hope it's a guy, not a kid. This guy drew porn of his mom, and at one point in his own porn stuff, he literally cucks his mom out to a bunch of other guys. I had this narrator that I recently got back into contact with from the Creepypasta community. She hates it as much as I do now. I got her to voice the mom, those lines, and they're pretty fucking just ugh. So and you know how the robots are with women, and they'll cream themselves over even the ugliest girl's voice. So when they hear this, when they hear her saying those lines, it's just gonna be like they won't be able to type any comments because they'll be covered in semen. Girl's voice.
Yeah, basically.
So that's my take on text to speech and the autism that runs deep in the 4chan community.
Yeah, sounds about right. So I got one more question from there, and then I'll get through the emails, and then that's about it. So the last community question from the YouTubes is from Luigi Time 123, and he asks, do you believe in any of the paranormal / do you have any paranormal experiences?
Yes, firm believer in it. Experiences.
Spill the beans.
Quite a few. I don't feel like going into all of them because they're not interesting. A lot of them. They're just like I saw some.
Give us one at least.
Okay, so the one that's the best one out of all of them is I was a country boy up in Michigan at this time, and I was at a friend's house. It was like probably 11 or 10 or 11, maybe later than that. I was on his couch. I can't remember if I was sleeping there or not, and the TV was on, and it casted this particular shadow because of the TV frame and some of the walls and everything. It casted this like L-shaped shadow, like a capital L. So the shadow looked like an L, the negative space was the wall. As I was laying there, I wasn't paying attention to the TV, I think I was looking at the wall. I just see the shadow of this, like, of a head, and maybe the top parts of the shoulders, and it was looking at me at first, then turned to the shadow and then floated into it. Like, and it looked like it was casted on the wall as well. So that was pretty, and I wasn't like, I wasn't freaking out like crazy, but I was just like, that was something. So yeah, that's probably the most interesting and vivid one I have.
Yeah, well, I was hoping that the fucking ex-creepypasta narrator / still kind of narrator would have some fucking creepy stories.
I mean, problem is like, when, like with Ghost Adventures, I love Ghost Adventures, but I didn't go anywhere particularly supposedly haunted, so I don't have a lot of crazy, like, dude, there's this, well, okay, so I do have one extra story that's also very vivid. Same friend, different house and everything. He had gotten a new MP3 player that could record audio. That was a shocker back then. And so we were like, dude, let's do some EVPs, yeah, man, because we're teenagers and we're into this stuff. And so we do the recording, and in it we hear like, the creepy kid's voice, like the, we love you, or some bullshit like that. But it told us to turn out the lights. And we tried to recreate the voice, but we couldn't. So that was pretty creepy, but the part that kind of makes me like, because in the morning, when we woke up, the recording was gone, so whether or not my friend deleted it, or, the ghosts were fucking with us, whatever the case was, that was also pretty creepy, but I'm split on whether or not it was actually one of us, or something else.
Right.
I try to be as skeptical about the paranormal as possible until it kind of seems.
Obviously, trying to keep it open mind.
Because the thing is, you can actually put logic to the paranormal at some points, but people are just too stupid. Like, you can be like, well, why would there be a demon in, like, everybody thinks, ooh, an evil force is a demon. Like, people don't realize just how evil some people can feel. And it's like you go to an insane asylum where there's like crazy people and you're like, oh, I can feel a evil force, it's a demon. Or it was one of the crazier nuts that lived in there.
Or it's Jared Blow that fucking touched a kid 3 years ago down there.
Or that. But that's my problem with the amateurs, is they're, ooh, I'm a professional ghost hunter. That's like being a professional, that's like having an arts degree.
Yeah, basically.
But, like, it's something amateurs always do, is they're like, demons! And it's like, why would there be a demon here, though? So, what's your spooky Australian stories other than all the...
So, the only real spooky story I have is, I got a friend who lives in Wales, and,
He lives in Wales? That's disgusting!
It's not that bad. But he lives in, like, an old Victorian house and stuff, and he keep telling me just like, oh, I've got a fucking, like, a ghost that's in my fucking house. And he's got, like, a house that goes back, like, 200 years ago. It's one of those old fucking houses. And I'm like, no, you don't. And he's just like, alright, I'm gonna fucking go for a coffee, I'm gonna leave my webcam on, and I'm just gonna fucking go do my thing. And he leaves the room, and I fucking see his keys slide across the table and then fucking just go straight off the table, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm leaving this call.
The fuck? And I'm like, that was weird. And then I saw something like off the top of his dresser just like fall off as well, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
I wouldn't be creeped out. I'd be annoyed living there.
Yeah, it's just like, he wasn't scared. It's just like, oh no, it's just fucking annoying. The bastard keeps moving my shit around.
Yeah, like I would just be like, listen, I get it. You want my human dick, but you can't have it, okay? I'll turn into the ghost puncher before I turn into a pussy. I'll fucking dunk my hands in holy water and staple crosses to them before I'm like, oh, it's a ghost scum. No, I'm just gonna start beating the air. That should be a national pastime, is ghost punching.
Yeah, just about. I don't know. That's probably another one that I'll probably do soon as well. Eventually. I feel like it's cooled down enough for people not calling me a copier at this point.
Or me not going on your video and calling you a copier.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so I got a couple more emails to read, and then we'll probably wrap it up. Hasn't mentioned that he wants to remain anonymous, so I'm going to read your first name. So Harry says, well, here I am, Mr. Asian Devastation. For your next podcast, you should talk about how every commentary channel on YouTube has died. There is still EMP Lemon, who probably should be a guest because reasons. Leon Lush, but H3H3, and also like every other one has just disappeared. It's kind of weird. Don't get me wrong that a lot of them are god-awful, but they're still the biggest part of YouTube. He also threw in a pretty relevant picture that I think you'll probably get a bit of a funny at as well. How do I drop it in? Upload.
Well, what kind of commentary are we talking about? Are we talking about like the H3 style stuff?
As in like sort of like commentary / reactionary.
Because, okay, so then we're not doing the ranting community then, okay.
No, fucking, there's a reason why Leafy haven't uploaded for years.
So with the commentary stuff, the reason why a lot of them are dying out is because, number one, there's a lot of controversy going on in the world, right? And YouTube is cucking people into not being able to talk about it. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is just there's better people at it. Stefan Molyneux, however you pronounce his name. Styx Hexenhammer. You know.
Oh, I know you got a raging boner for.
Maybe. I totally didn't. Yeah, it wasn't me who supported his run for governor. No, it wasn't me at all. No. Anyways.
I see you reply to every one of his tweets, mate.
No, I don't. I reply to Vinegar more than I do Sticks. But anyways, as for commentators, it tends to be the ones that like Stefan and Sticks take a like with H3H3. I can't really say anything because I've never really watched him. However, I do know that he has a lot of biases. He's got a lot more of a liberal outlook on the stuff, whereas Sticks and Mr. That's Not an Argument himself, those two take a much more unbiased, centrist look at things, even though I think they're both libertarians, which is what I really, really like that. I really like the unbiased look they take. They can criticize both sides. However, they mostly criticize the side that's being dumb. But that's why a lot of those commentary channels are dying out, is because they don't offer the same insight, the same, legitimate insight as... Because look at it this way. H3H3 is mostly a comedy channel. The last thing I expect from him is decent social commentary, because all they're going to do is make jokes about it. The other thing is that he's focused more on his regular content and kind of YouTube drama bullshit than he is on like political and social problems. Whereas Sticks, Stefan, and many others that I don't watch focus on that kind of stuff and offer useful insight into it. Offer a refreshing look on this stuff, and because of that, they're more well known. People prefer them more, and because I've seen snippets of H3H3's podcast, and it's just not entertaining to me. It's just I don't look at it and be like, yeah, man, this is some insightful stuff. No, I don't do that. It Sticks on a daily basis. I either agree with him or he says something that I'm like, never thought about it that way. That's what I like about his channel more than theirs, is that I actually it actually makes me think about these problems.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'd call myself like an avid fan of H3, because like a lot of the time, like when I'm working or whatever the fuck, I'll just throw on like the H3 podcast. But the main reason why he hasn't uploaded shit anymore is most of the stuff they did react to, like the prank channels and everything, they just can't fucking upload anymore because it just gets demonetized. So he's actually mostly just run out of stuff to react to anymore.
As for Emperor Lemon, like, the dude's a YouTube pooper, and then he tries to, he essentially, abandons his content and goes to rants? Not to mention, he's like 18?
I don't know.
Because I know he did a birthday video and he was like either 17 or 18 in that. But like, I don't go to an 18-year-old for life advice. I don't go to it's like, that's why I don't even really do commentary. I'm only 21, okay? I'm not pretending like I'm full of wisdom. I might be smarter than, I might have a little bit of common sense, but I'm not going to try and offer my self-opinionated opinion on these things. Movies, yes, because I know my movies. Social and political commentary, no, because it's not my thing. I'm also 21. I don't have as much life experience as the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Emperor Lemon is the last person. I hate having to constantly, I'm sure they're a cool person, but I'm not going to an 18-year-old or some kid like that for life advice, for information on social political commentary.
Okay, so we got one more email, and it's from Nate. God damn it, guys! Fucking see, the funny thing about emails and stuff as well is they'll email me from their personal account and it has their fucking real name attached to it, and so I keep telling people to like tell me if you want to remain anonymous.
Oh, I'm just gonna read your name. Usually people will tell me whether or not they want me to say their name. If they don't specify, I'll just say, got an email from this person, so.
The last two or three haven't fucking said, so I'm just going to read your first name. So, email from Nate, and he says, well, it's me again, cunt. Over the past week, I've had some strange encounters with Downies at my school. Let's say when you mess them up, it's not fun. Okay, let me get on with this. Downey walks up to me and my friends, and we say, fuck, once in our talk, and this Downey starts freaking out and trying to beat us up, saying no cursing, in the most retarded voice.
This is a Christian school.
Yeah, also, who's the tard here, mate? You've got about 5 or 6 spelling mistakes here. And then the last part, So my question is for you, Ozfag cunt. Have you ever had a really bad situation with the Downies, or even just weird ones?
But the Downies. In my middle school, whether or not it actually happened, almost every day this kid named Tony would jerk off in the bathrooms.
What the fuck, dude?
I don't know if it's true or not. I doubt it is, but that's what I heard. I never really had a problem because they were separated from us. Thank God. By the way, just to let everybody know, Tard stories are terrible because they are literally all the same. So there you go. That's my opinion on them.
Yeah, and they're almost all fake. I have no doubt that they're probably inspired by some Tard with a couple of stories, but there's no fucking way. Like,
because here's how I'd write a green text about Tony: be me, be 15 in middle school because held back or something. Be in the bathrooms. Tard comes in, smashes open stall door, starts jerking off in front of my face, splooges on it. Like, of course it's fake. I've never been splooged on.
Yeah, and also, I've never been to fucking America. I've never been to American schools. I can imagine there's no fucking way they could do even half the fucking shit they do and not just get immediately expelled.
No, half the half the violence they do. They even if they are special needs, their ass is grass.
Yeah, probably at least 80% of them have the Tards at least raping some person.
Oh yeah, that shit wouldn't fly. They would euthanation. Most of the Tard stories are completely fictitious, and they're just buffed up versions of what, even if it even happened, actually happened.
Yeah. And I also talked about my own Tard stories last week, so if you want to have a look at that. The only other thing with the pissing thing that actually reminded me.
I mean, isn't everyone in Australia retarded just like Americans?
Maybe some more so than
all your
others.
brains are sun-baked, so... or Aboriginals.
Well, but the pissing story actually reminded me. I also have another pissing story with someone at my school. We on grade 10, 10. We took a trip to Canberra because that's the thing that we did, and we were in a bunch of these cabins in this caravan park type thing, and it's probably 9 or 10 o'clock. And all the kids are going to have showers, whatever the fuck. And as I'm going down there, I just see a kid face up against the wall with his hands down his pants. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's pissing on the fucking one of the cabins. And I'm like, his name's JP. And I'm like, oi JP, what the fuck are you pissing on that?
I'm doing
and you see him just fucking. You see him suddenly just fucking quickly zip up his pants and turn around and go, no. I'm like, what the fuck? And this is also the same kid that. He was also a bit of a drummer, too. And there was one time he was in the bathroom for probably about 15 or 20 minutes.
Is a drummer Australian slang, or is he actually a drummer in a band?
Well, drummer in a band, loose term, because, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I haven't seen him since school. But the whole meme with that was that the kid was in there polishing his drumsticks. If you catch the drift. So that was a whole running meme with her. Hey JP, every time you go to the toilet, oh, you're polishing your drumsticks again? Suck it.
I was pretty autistic in school, I'll admit.
We're all a little bit autistic in school, let's be real.
For the 9 years that I was in there, I was pretty autistic. Wait a minute, school was 12 years. Yeah, do the math, boy.
Well, mine was, we've got kindergarten, and then we've got
you got
all
kindergarten,
the grades.
preschool, that kind of stuff. But if you go from if you count only the grade 1 through 12, there's 12 grades, but I only went through 9.
Or you could be in New Zealand where you have 13 grades for some reason.
Because they wanted to be New Zealand.
No,
that doesn't mean that I'm not including kindergarten, preschool for my for the 9 years. No.
Drop out. All right. Anyway. Okay, so I think that'll do it for this week's podcast.
I've got a question for you, Mr.
Oh,
GreenCast.
okay. Wait. Oh.
Why are you stealing off me? It's so obvious that you're copying off of my channel.
Oh, there's actually a couple of other fucking comments that I forgot to read too. That I literally got 3 questions in a row that said, "Why don't you ask Creepswork why you're such a better narrator than him?"
I got a bunch of people saying green text who. So, that was fun. I just it pains me to know how many people took it seriously. Like, at what point do you think I'm fucking tired of this guy, Mr. Green? How many people are gonna take that voice seriously?
Apparently 10,000 people.
Apparently
that watched it.
It's so stupid. I was so let down by the sheer retardedness.
Okay, so if you actually made it the whole way through this green text, let me know by including this secret phrase in your comments, guys.
Oh god, you're one of those people.
Yeah, I am. You wondered why there was a fucking bunch of comments the other week saying that you're a shit narrator? I wonder why. I don't know why that is.
Okay. That explains it. Alright. You fucking cunt.
Did a bit of a meme, I got you there, mate. If you actually made it through this whole podcast for some fucking reason why you listened to us ramble for an hour and like 6 minutes, include somewhere that you're autistic, or I'm a little bit autistic, or something like that. Be creative. I'm surprised with some of my community. I'm trying to be a little bit more loose, because a lot of them have been a bit more creative in some of their response, so I'll let you have fun with that. Just include somewhere the word autistic. You don't have to call yourself autistic, you can call someone else autistic, just somewhere to let me know that you actually made it the whole way through.
The last comment I have ever, most recent comment I have hearted was on the Strangers video, and this person like remixed the first part of Lose Yourself to the story. It was like knees weak, or let me find it, because it was pretty good. I favorited it because, like, if you can make me laugh, or if your stuff is clever, then I will pin your comment or something. But just saying, lol, pin my comment because no.
Yeah, pin your comment until your mom's gonna die tonight.
He goes, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, teeth on edgy. His stomach's feeling queasy already. Strangers ready. He's nervous, but on the metro watching people ready. To find those, too average to be normal, see? I only did that because I was like, yeah, it is kind of clever. I'm very strict. I try to maintain a essence of quality, no matter where I go. Oh, but you're a GreenCast narrator.
Alright, so if you actually want to include yourself somewhat in this thing, guys, you can email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com. That's Mr. Greentext with an S on the end, because I know some of you are autistic and don't hear me say the S. Or you can either just comment on the community tab that I'll inevitably put up sometime next week.
I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot with this one. If you want to annoy me, you can email me at rattledmebones@gmail.com and tell me Mr. Greentext is better.
Yeah, you can also email him and tell him how much of a better narrator than I am than him. I'm sure that'll make it fucking feel better.
Yeah, turn into Bren Daniels commenters that totally don't make me want to kill him.
Alright, so, bye.